Giants Nation, if you're like me, you're still feeling that raw, just gut punch of a loss. That game against Dallas, it wasn't just a loss. It was like an emotional roller coaster that just ended with a brutal crash. You feel that burn, right? That frustration that makes you want to just, dissect every single play, every missed opportunity, and honestly, every single moment of what could have been. That's exactly where we're going today.
And we absolutely get that visceral reaction. For you, our dedicated listener, this isn't just about another game. It's about these recurring patterns, right? These disappointments that truly sting. So our deep dive today, it's going to be an impartial, but definitely empathetic look at the source material you've given us. We're not just looking at what happened on the field, but why it hit so incredibly hard for you as a passionate fan.
Yep, exactly. Our mission today is to pull apart every single frustrating penalty, every baffling coaching decisions, every missed chance, and yeah, even those incredible flashes of potential that kept us on the edge of our seats for our Big Blue. We've got the Giants' heartbreak, penalties, poor play, and OT dagger sources, and let me tell you, they paint a vivid, if painful picture. Okay, let's unpack this and try to keep our blood pressure somewhere near normal. 40 to 37, just saying those numbers out loud still makes my stomach clench. Giants lose another one to Dallas. And, I swear I aged like 10 years in those final 19 seconds of regulation, then maybe another 5 in overtime. The immediate sting, that feeling of here we go again, it's just so real, isn't it?
Well, what's fascinating here and also quite disheartening when you look at the patterns is this isn't an isolated incident. The sources point out Giants are now starting at 0-2 for the 10th time in just 13 years. That's a tough trend. And if we look specifically at the historical struggles against Dallas, the team hasn't actually secured a win against them since 2020. And even more specifically against Dak Prescott, they haven't beaten him since way back in 2016. These aren't just isolated losses. There are clear, kind of deep-rooted patterns in these results. It shows a recurring pain point for the fan base, And
it felt like destiny for a minute, didn't it? Malik Nabers' late touchdown, that should have been the miracle, the ultimate turning point. It really felt like, okay, here's the storybook ending finally happening right before our eyes. Yeah. And then poof, you just evaporated. Between some, let's say, questionable coaching calls and those absolutely soul-crushing penalties, it just turned into another nightmare, pure heartbreak. Now, amid all that crushing pain, there was a genuine, undeniable beacon of hope. A reason to absolutely jump out of your seat. And that was the incredible performance of Russell Wilson. Our quarterback put on an absolute deep ball show. I was screaming at the TV, just filled with this rush of energy, watching him sling those passes downfield with precision and power. It was, for a while there, exhilarating.
It really was an impressive individual outing, and the sources definitely underscore this Wilson stat line. 30 completions, 41 attempts, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that 1 interception. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, his deep passing numbers are what really fundamentally shift our understanding of the Giants' offensive ceiling, potentially. He concluded 7 of 11 deep attempts for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, what's truly exceptional here, and it speaks volumes about a potential new offensive identity, is that the Giants had, only 14 deep completions all of last season? Wilson managed half of that total in just one game. This isn't just a significant leap in offensive capability. It proves they now possess a potent vertical threat that was largely absent. And that's going to force defensive adjustments from opponents going forward, you'd think.
Exactly. This wasn't just a good game from Russ. This was a statement. And the connections he had, they were just electric, sparking the entire offense. Malik Nabers, the sources use that 8th assist symbol, and it's no exaggeration. He hauled in 167 yards and just absolutely cooked defenders like Trayvon Diggs and Etheram. He looked unstoppable out there. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, the Easton emoji, maybe doesn't even do him justice, right? 8 catches, 142 yards, a touchdown. Just finding space everywhere. Darius Slayton, a real hawk, wasn't just getting tunk plays, but also drawing some crucial pass interference penalties downfield. Russ was serving bombs like it was New Year's Eve in Times Square until, he dropped the ball at midnight. And that drop, that one single play, that's all that joy, all that hope just evaporated. Ooh, that overtime dagger. I'm still trying to process it, honestly. That overtime interception was a classic. What in the name of Big Blue were you thinking, Mose? I can't wrap my head around it. Nabers was double covered, clearly double covered, and the throw was forced anyway. Game over. Just like that. All that momentum, all that hope we'd built up, gone.
One incredibly poor decision.
Yeah, and this raises a really critical question about decision-making under that kind of extreme pressure, especially when the stakes are so high. In that specific situation, the sources imply that even playing for a tie which, okay, would have meant a 0-1-1 record, would have been a significantly better outcome for the team's standing and, frankly, morale, than that game-losing throw that sealed the defeat. The ripple effect of such a high-stakes forced play can dramatically impact team confidence in how they approach future clutch situations, you know.
And speaking of things that make me want to pull my hair out, let's talk about the penalty parade. 14 penalties for 160 yards, a new franchise record. Are you kidding me? A franchise record for penalties. And the real cost, when you actually factor in all the declined and offset plays, was an astounding 213 yards lost. 213 yards. You simply cannot win football games playing that undisciplined. It's impossible. And here's where it gets really infuriating. James Hudson's rap sheet. 2 false starts, basic stuff, an unnecessary roughness call, and then the absolute killer, wiping out Wan'Dale's incredible 51-yard gain. The sources say it best. Hudson was the Cowboys' 12th man. And yeah, forget the milk carton. We're putting his helmet on Craigslist. The absolute nerve. This isn't just frustrating. It's unacceptable.
Right. And beyond just the astounding yardage, the key insight from the sources is how the sheer volume of penalties repeatedly put the offense behind schedule. It turned manageable situations like 2nd and 5 into incredibly difficult ones like 2nd and 15. This fundamentally compromises the offensive playbook, doesn't it? It often dictates predictable play calls, making it almost impossible for a team to sustain drives and maintain any kind of rhythm. These aren't just individual errors, they become strategic liabilities that just erode momentum.
Exactly. And Hudson's individual issues, as infuriating as they are, they connect directly to the broader offensive line woes. We're talking about the interior O-line having absolutely no push in the run game. 0. Our running backs were averaging around 3 yards per carry. 3. Our run game is like decaf coffee-like. What's the point? You just get no jolt, no energy, nothing to build off of, and it makes our entire offense predictable, one-dimensional.
However, there was a definite bright spot identified on the offensive line, and that was Marcus Mbow. He stepped in at left tackle, and the sources indicate he was notably clean in pass protection, which is obviously crucial for keeping your quarterback upright and giving him time to make those deep throws we saw. And credit where it's due, the Jaxson Dart trick play package. That seemed to work mostly as designed, despite Dart slipping on one attempt. So while the interior struggles were definitely prominent, there were individual moments of effectiveness and some clever play design that did yield some positive results, at least.
All right, let's find a little joy, because honestly, we need it after all the negativity. The pass rush. Okay, that was definitely a glimmer of hope and a point of pride. I was incredibly proud of our defensive line, truly. Brian Burns was an absolute dragon out there. Not only getting a sack, but also racking up 4 pressures and 2 TFLs, tackles for loss, pushing them back. Awesome. And Kayvon Thibodeaux, he also got a sack off a nice stunt and was bringing steady, relentless heat all night long. Good to see. And Abdul Carter, a real with a cornerback hit and consistent pressures. Man, he was getting absolutely mugged by uncalled holds out there. Dallas linemen were hugging Abdul Carter like he was a long-lost cousin, and the refs just called it family reunion. It was ridiculous. But he was still making plays, constantly disrupting things.
And Dexter Lawrence, the Sasa, he also registered 3 pressures despite being doubled constantly by the Cowboys' offensive line. 2 blockers often assigned just to him. So while it wasn't maybe a complete takeover performance from Dex, it was certainly good disruptive pressure given the attention he was commanding. This combination of individual performances from the defensive front really did highlight a defensive strength, showing that capability to get after the quarterback.
Okay, momentary joy officially over, because we have to talk about the secondary. Another complete meltdown. Drew Phillips, a real like a roller coaster, had an extremely up and down night. He made a fantastic pick on that CD Lamb crosser, where the receiver runs horizontally across the field, which was exciting, but then he got beaten for a touchdown and drew some flags himself. Inconsistent. Paulson Daboll, the C of the night, allowed 6 of 6 passes thrown his way to be completed late in the game and gave up that absolutely crucial overtime crosser that set Dallas up. Can't have that. And Tyler Nubin, the C's, it seemed lost out there sometimes. Significant issues. Missed 4 or 5 tackles, took consistently poor angles, and even got hurled. Come on, you just can't make this stuff up. But the real kicker for me was Deonte Banks. The C emoji in the source perfectly sums up his night. It just looked cold. Pass interference penalties where a defender illegally impedes a receiver, soft tackling, and honestly just poor effort at times. The source even suggests that Flop should take his snaps. It really felt like Banks was playing like his controller disconnected. It was just
incredibly frustrating to watch, especially when you absolutely need critical stops in those crucial moments. We need our secondary locked in, not looking like they're phoning it in. And now, Now we get to the part that really, really boils my blood, the coaching corner. Shane Bowen's soft zone defense with 19 seconds left. I mean, what does this all mean? It means it was absolutely inexcusable. Defensive backs playing with 10-yard cushions, just giving receivers 10 yards of space right off the line. No blitz wrinkle, no pressure at all. Just allowing Dak Prescott to calmly walk into field goal range, soft zone and crunch time. That's like putting a screen door on a submarine. It just makes absolutely no sense. It is infuriating as a fan who just wants to see our team win, and clearly some of these decisions are actively working against that goal. I'm telling you, I'm beyond mad at Shane Bowen for that call. Just livid.
Yeah, and while the criticism of that specific defensive call is certainly warranted, and the sources definitely echo that strong sentiment, it's worth noting on the offensive side that the coordinators, Daboll and Kafka, did eventually dial up some effective vertical passing plays, as we saw reflected in Wilson's big numbers. However, the run game, as you pointed out so passionately, is still visibly broken. That remains a significant imbalance in the offensive strategy, and it needs immediate attention to prevent the offense from becoming way too predictable.
All right, so what do we do? Where do we go from here? What's the path forward after all this mess? The sources give us the fix at 5, and honestly, these aren't suggestions. These feel like urgent demands from the fan base.
Right.
First, we need to start Mbow at left tackle until Andrew Thomas returns. That seems like a no-brainer given his clean performance, doesn't it? Second, bench Hudson. Seriously, he's emergency depth only. We simply cannot have that many drive-killing penalties from one player, period. Third, we absolutely have to add duo and RPO looks, that specific run blocking schemes and run pass option plays to help that anemic interior run game. We need more creativity and maybe just some more power up front. Fourth, rotate Flott in over Banks at cornerback. We need someone who's playing with their controller connect and showing consistent effort and technique. And fifth, more simulated pressures. Where defenders fake a blitz before dropping back and rob or help like a safety playing a deep zone to jump short routes against 2-minute drives. We saw exactly what happens when you don't do that. We cannot let it happen again.
And this raises that important question, doesn't it? How quickly can these pretty fundamental adjustments truly be made, especially when you glance ahead at the upcoming schedule? The urgency implied by this Fix at 5 list is definitely underscored by the incredibly difficult opponents looming on the horizon. Implementing these changes isn't just about tweaking strategy, it feels more like it's about survival for the next few weeks.
And that schedule, it's brutal. It's brutal. We've got the Chiefs next week, and they're on 0-2. They're going to be angry, and they have Chris Jones and Spags defense coming right for us. Yikes. Then it's the Chargers, the Eagles, the Broncos, the Saints. That schedule only gets harder from here, my friends. It really does. Our team desperately needs discipline like yesterday, and they need that run game fixed fast. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very long season. And honestly, as a fan, I don't know how much more heartbreak I can personally take. Giants fans, look, we had the ingredients to bake a delicious victory cake against the Cowboys, but way too many self-inflicted wounds and questionable decisions left us with nothing but burnt toast. Again, Russ was cooking, no doubt about it, putting up huge numbers, but Hudson Bowen basically pulled the fire alarm right when we needed to finish that meal. So frustrating.
So, for you, our listener, considering everything we've unpacked today, the exceptional highs and those truly agonizing lows, what single fix-it from that list, or maybe something else, do you think the team must prioritize immediately, like right now, just to survive this incredibly challenging schedule ahead? That's really the key question we leave you to ponder.
And as for me,
all right,
I'm just going to reiterate what the source said because it stuck with me.
Yeah.
Shane Bowen will line you up 10 yards off the ball with 19 seconds left. Unbelievable.
Just wanted to say a massive thank you for tuning in to Big Blue Tea.
Absolutely. And a huge shout out always to BLKFREEZYTV.
Oh, definitely.
For the fantastic programming, the production, everything that makes this possible.
Yep. Their work behind the scenes is just really appreciated.
It really is.
This has been Big Blue Tea.